Hi everybody, it's Salsa Forge. Hopefully you're having a great day. I made a video the other day about the OGL, my thoughts on the initial leaks, and I was a little bit heated, and I swore a bit and things like that, but I probably didn't go enough. Still, it was out of character for me, and I apologize for that. I'm just very passionate about this community. I'm very passionate about TTRPGs. I was very passionate about the D&D brand, the lore. There's a whole lot to like about D&D. Third-party publishers just come in and they fill in the gaps that aren't there, or they fix existing rules that just don't make sense, or there's logical fallacies in some of these things, or direct contradictions. So third-party publishers come in and they fix that stuff up, and their effort deserves to be paid. Although some people make free stuff, everything I've offered so far here in the last year has been free. Some free characters. Level 1 characters already made for you. I've made maps, entire world maps, region maps, and I've offered them all for free. And full disclosure, there's a strategy in that. Everybody releases things for free because there's a strategy to it. Just like in a supermarket, they offer items that are clearly cheaper than they would be anywhere else. That's so that their other items can cost more. It's sort of the same principle. I'm offering you free stuff now so you can see the value of my items that I do put up for sale later. And you'll trust and believe that it's going to be products of the utmost quality that I could possibly provide you. And it's going to be at the slimmest of profit margins that actually would make any sense to even make this stuff. I got into this hobby obviously for fun. I never thought that it could be anything potentially to make any money off of, because I never really thought about it in that type of mindset. I developed a world back when my first campaign was homebrew that I DM'd. It was in a world that I already had partially fleshed out. I didn't have it fully fleshed out because I didn't know all the mechanics and things like that. I was just starting out. Well, we have the whole OGL leak in its entirety, and it is 15 pages long. It is 9,000 words. Actual copyright lawyers have taken looks at this. A lot of people in the community that are more to the front of the community, they're more in view. I'm on the outside, way outside fringes of the community. I'm probably one of the smallest channels on here, and that's my fault because I haven't promoted and things like that yet. I was going to, and then this OGL stuff happened, and it's affected quite a bit. The world that I was fleshing out, that my campaign currently is in, that's on hiatus, probably, at the most I could play it and not even stream it or record it or broadcast it anywhere and all these other things. So we may be able to finish the campaign up. But that campaign world, what I've created so far, was in regards to 5th edition or to D&D in general, because it started out as 3.5, and I just converted over the economy and made some changes here and there, and ta-da, 5th edition. But since that world was created with the OGL in mind, and with the D&D property in mind, and all those types of concerns, now that the OGL has changed, or they're trying to change it, whether they have legal recourse to do so or not, does not matter to me. The fact that they were trying to change it, or they are trying to change it, or they are actively going to change it, is what concerns me. So since my world wasn't all the way created, fleshed out for D&D, but it is contained for D&D in mind, I'm creating a brand new world. And I've been working on it for about 10 to 12 hours a day, along with a rule set to govern that world. I'm willing to show you the map that I have right now so far, so you can see. And occasionally I'll probably show you the map to show you how much progress I've made on it. The reason I'm doing this is because no matter what happens with the OGL, and they walk back some or all of this language, The fact of the matter is that you know that this was in their heart. This is what they wanted to do, or this is what they will do. There's going to be a lot of legal challenges to what they're doing. But despite all of those things, there would only be one condition in which I would still even play D&D. DM D&D, purchase D&D products, and the only way that would ever happen is if they walk back all of this, except the percentage of profits. They want to get a percentage. It should be of the profits, though, not of the total amount. And it shouldn't be 25%. That's way too high. Some people don't even have that kind of profit margin after they pay for everything that they pay for involved in the project. It's just too high. It's untenable. It doesn't make any sense. It's going to drive everybody who even is crazy enough to think about this, it's going to drive them out. And if it doesn't drive them out, because they are making enough profit to eke by even with the 25%, well, now Hasbro Wizards of the Coast can come in here and just claim your property and take it from you. All the work that you do, all the artists, everybody that you paid, your entire team's work, and essentially the work, your life's work, because when you do these projects, it becomes your life's work. It takes a very long time to get a very accessible system out there. It takes a long time to create a world and to fill it up and to create deities and factions and NPCs and an entire economy. These things all take lots of time. And that's just not something that I'm willing to risk for Wizards of the Coast to come back at you and say, no, we just want to cancel your agreement. You have 30 days. We're canceling it. Anything that you've made in the past, we own it. We own all your products. We don't want you to have the license no more. And whether they would do that lenient, strong-handedly or not, does not matter to me. It does not matter to me. It's the language that they can do it. Because if they put the language in there, it's because they intend to use it. No legal document is going to have extra language in there if they don't intend to use it. It will have language in there to confuse the shit out of you, though. It will have language in there that seems like doublespeak and a whole lot of saying things about nothing. Most end-user license agreements, terms of service, those things are intentionally so long now, it's to get you to not read it. It's to get you to tune out. But the TTRPG community is a different breed. We are not a community like other communities. We will read absolutely every word in any document that you come out. Reading's one of the things we do. So is math. We've been trained for this. We've been trained by D&D to look in their contracts for shady things. Because as players and as DMs, you know the other side of the coin, and you know some of the things that people try to get away with. And so the company that produces the items that have all these mechanics, and you'd see some of the things that they've done in the past, well, they're going to slip things in here. They're going to try to sleight of hand us. So even if they are saying $750K per year and SRD-based content, and then that's when they start getting all this money, and they can start taking from your Kickstarter before you even funded anything, before you actually started building your product out to beyond a prototype, in order to show, they get some of your, they get 20% of your Kickstarter. That's a lot off the top. That means a whole lot of people are getting paid less, or a whole lot of people aren't getting hired, or you're not going to be able to do all the art assets that you want. You're going to have to cut some things, and maybe quite substantially, in order to put out a product that won't cost you an arm and a leg. Here is the leaked OGL in its entirety. It's 15 pages long, and other people have covered it. I'll provide a link pinned in the comments section so you can read it and see if you're interested in everything that it says. If you just play D&D exclusively, you don't buy third party, or even support third party, and you don't make any money from it, and you don't upload it to YouTube where, with conditions to pay for it or anything like that, people can tip you, but they can't pay for your Patreon as a condition to access your content. So that gets rid of some things that I had for ideas. Like, okay, well, I won't put it up my campaign on YouTube, but maybe I could make it as part of the, like, a thank you for donating. Here you go. It's not like you're paying for the stuff. It's just, it's something extra I can give you as a thank you for supporting me. I can't even do that now. So for me, all I can do is, I'm going to now create a Patreon. I'm going to make it so you can donate whatever you can, and the stuff is going to be free. But if you don't want to read the OGL, it's fine. Legalese is kind of boring. But as creators, we're all reading it. As a player, no one's going to fault you for if you want to stick with D&D and play D&D and things like that. But you're going to have a whole lot less content to work with going forward. And that's because there's a huge vacuum of third-party creators leaving. I call myself a third-party creator, even though I'm small. For right now, no third-party creator is going to fault you for staying with Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody's asking you to even choose either or. But third-party creation is important to TTRPGs. It is TTRPGs. Without third-party creation, there would be significantly less items to up for offer for you to use, enjoy, and purchase. So it's my hope that you also try out some of these other folks' systems. Even if it's not my own system, I don't mind. Even if it's not my own world and setting and the deities and the economy and everything that I have going for it. And we'll talk about that later on, because that's what my channel has to tilt away from D&D content. And the map making isn't D&D content, And we'll talk about what I can and can't do going forward as far as my understanding of the situation. I can upload my campaign still, but I cannot profit from it. And they could still come in and take the world and everything like that. I'm a small channel. Chances of it happening, extremely low. But it's also out of solidarity for those who are much bigger and quote-unquote have made it. It's for Paizo and all these other companies, Ronin Press, and, I don't know what's going to happen to the DMs Guild and, Drive Through RPG, and I don't know what's going to happen to all these people. And so out of solidarity, I'm just leaving. I'm not, getting into the situations they're into, because those folks are already relatively or fully established, and so they are going to be out possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars. It might not be that bad. They may be able to switch it out so that there's no OGL in any of their products, but that takes a lot of rework and a lot of man hours and a lot of hiring and a lot of money. And so in that solidarity, I'm moving away from D&D completely. I may finish the campaign for my players. It's going to be offline. It's not going to be recorded. I don't think I'm even going to stream it. I may record it for my own personal use, and for my players to, watch their campaign if they wish to, but I can't release it. I can't release it for fear that at some point they could come in and just take the world or take my ideas or any of that stuff. And so I am creating a world here, and I put so far about 20 hours, 25 hours into the map. And you can see quite a bit of the map is not done. However, I'm working on it daily. It's going to happen. Whether it's a product that I eventually sell or not is not up to me. It's really up to if you guys like it. But we're gonna the campaign 2, when I get to have campaign 2, You might have different players or additional players. But campaign 2 is when I'm going to demonstrate that world for you, and you're going to be able to see the lore and how it works. You're going to be able to see the game system that I developed, along with some help from other folks. And we're going to basically use campaign 2 to test the product and then go back and fine tune it and things like that. But these items are going to eventually be available. I understand that I don't have anywhere possibly near the backing of even some of these smaller creators who have at least their own editor. I don't have that, but it's my hope that eventually I'll be able to make something so that I can hire additional people. And before I continue on, I want to reiterate that I do not fault Hasbro Wizards of the Coast wanting to make money off of Dungeons and Dragons. If third party comes in and makes money on their books, you should get money. It's fair. They're using your products and your system. It's to make their own money and products. And it's fair. I'm completely fine with it. I'm not fine with the amount. I am not fine with them owning a master copy of your item that you hand over and all the reporting you have to do to them, describe your product. That all makes a little bit of sense. But them having a copy of your product and then just being able to revoke your license and still be able to sell your product as their product officially and make money off of it and had nothing to do with it other than they provided you the D&D world, you know. So the percentages, I think a max of 5% would be fine. It's not going to hurt anybody terribly bad, and Wizards of the Coast is going to be able to bring in all these 5%, you know, from everybody who's making content, and they would make an astronomical killing, and they would keep almost every single person who was happy before continuously happy, because they're not trying to steal your items. So I may not be able to put the campaign up there, but what else do I do here that would it be affected or not affected? The maps, those are for universal. Those are for any TTRPG. You can choose to use them for D&D if you wish. I am not making them for D&D. I might add, you know, I make them with, you know, as many systems in my mind as possible. That's why when I'm making the map, I give you ideas for various ages, you know, time frames. If they have various different technologies available to them, then it changes the dynamic of things. You know, even what year it is changes the dynamic of, you know, how many people are in your settlement or how many settlements you have, things like that. And I change some of those considerations up with D&D players in mind, but it's for any TTRPG system that you wish to use it for. It's basically just to save you tons and tons of time and effort.
Don't stop until you...
So, in terms of the video games I play, most of the games I play here, I would say, are role-playing or, you know, adventure games. Obviously, the properties that have nothing to do with the OGL are fine. And the thing is, the D&D video game properties don't fall under the OGL. They fall under something, from what I understand, the VGL, the video game license. It's separate. And with Wizards of the Coast taking a strong pivot away from games when they just announced all these fantastic D&D games and properties that they were going to come out with, it seems like they just completely pivoted away from that. So I don't even think they even care. I don't know. But either way, I'm going to still be able to play those old D&D properties. The Icewind Dales, the Baldur's Gates. I'm still going to play all those. And those are not affected because I am not charging you for any of those. I'm not charging you to view my content in any way. Every video I make, you see it. I don't have any gated content, gated exclusives, you know, nothing. So we're good to go on those until I read or hear otherwise and can confirm it, I'm good to go on that. I'm still going to play my games. My only problem is, since I'm taking away from the D&D side, that's creating a huge vacuum of my content, because I was and have a whole bunch of videos in the chamber regarding D&D. I've took some time off because my grandma passed away, and it really wasn't time off because I was still making videos and doing everything else besides editing and uploading them. That was the only process that I didn't do. And so I have about 10 to 16 videos, I'd say, in the chamber that are all D&D related, you know. And I don't even know if I can even talk about them since they're D&D properties. It's ridiculous. Isn't this ridiculous? But I had some things with certain monsters that changed the entire dynamic of them. They're floaty monsters with big eyes, or one big eye, small eyes. I think we released that video, but I had more to it. I release part 1 and part 2 sometimes for videos that are going to be lengthy, or I'll revisit a topic and add the part 2 when I revisit and just not call it part 2, but it'll be different content. We had stuff for certain creatures that look like squid faces with long dangly tentacles that live underground, that have psionic powers, that have enslaved other races. We were going to have things for them to make them more deadly, like they used to be. And a lot of D&D homebrew rules for conditions and durability and a lot of things. Even a new inventory system, so this way you can keep track of your inventory, but you don't have to do it by weight. It simplifies a lot of the numbers. It makes it more of a universal thing, and it would be very easy to adopt for any system. So all these specific things that I was working on, I'm changing them up, and I'm going to work on them or add them to the world that I had just briefly showed you. But since there's going to be a vacuum of D&D content, there may be a little bit less content coming forward from my channel for right now. It's not because I want to make less content. It's not because I have less time, which I do, but I'm getting better with time management. But there's going to be a vacuum for a bit. I'm going to fill it in with other content, and I have other things in the works, but they all rely on my world to be fully built and fleshed out. And so most of my time is going towards that endeavor. So hopefully it all works out in the end. If you want to still play D&D, like I said, as a player, go for it. But it's important to support third-party content from your friends or things that you feel like are good products. That's what helps keep people able to feed their families and have a living, because a lot of people have given up previous careers in order to make TTRPG content, and the OGL completely changing completely messes all that up. It erases all the goodwill that Wizards of the Coast has received from the community over the 5th edition. They lost a lot of goodwill for 4th edition. And so this, I feel, is something that is going to hurt their bottom line for sure if it goes through. If it doesn't go through, I imagine some creators are going to go ahead and just stay and continue, because the built-in base of D&D, the built-in player base, is, you can't overlook the value of that. Of the, D&D is a household name. It's recognizable by a lot of people, even folks who've never even played D&D or even seen anybody roll dice for D&D. They know what D&D is. That's name recognition, and that's what I would be fine paying for. Okay, if I'm making my own content, that's mine. How can you tell me that you can take it from me and own it and just completely cut me out of the picture? I don't believe Wizards of the Coast should get cut out of the picture. I don't believe Hasbro should get cut out of the picture. I believe they should get money, but I don't believe they should own everything that's yours. I believe if they cancel your agreement, it cancels any future sales of books that you have. True, like future publications that you would make. But I feel like you should still get the royalties and everything from your past content that you've made when you were under the license. I feel like they can't just cut you out as the creator, and they cannot claim it as their own work, because that's plagiarism. We've learned that in school. That's plagiarism. So if the creator of that work is saying, no, that's my stuff, then you shouldn't be able to have a contract in place that says, no, actually it's ours. Thank you for creating that for us. What a fine gift you gave us. So the channel is going to change quite a bit. The computer stuff isn't going to change the gameplay. I'm going to have to present things as in more of a generic terms. I'm not even going to use the word dungeon master anymore. I don't think. I mean, I'm going to. Sometimes it's going to slip out, but there's other things that I'm thinking of, and it's just got everybody in the community in a tizzy. I'm sure you can understand why, and I'm sure you can understand why I cursed about it the other day and was a little bit upset, because it's worse than I even thought it was the other day. But I'm being calm about it, and hopefully you're being calm about it too, right? It's going to cause a lot of third-party creators to create their own systems. Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, just created all their competitors that they could possibly ever hope to deal with. And I hope they're happy with that. So if you're happy with that, go ahead and give me one of these. Give me a subscribe. Help my channel blow up, because we're trying to take it into the next gear. And I could do that with your help. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Have a great day. I'm off to court. Peace.